Sure, that's a pleasant conversation over there. Noel Quinn, I believe, is upset at Christie's sides for not.
The WNBA has been a hotbed of talent, passion, and fierce competition, but this season, things have reached a boiling point, all thanks to the rookie sensation, Caitlin Clark. What was once a league trying to find its place in the larger sports world has now been thrust into the spotlight. And it's not just because of the talent on display, it's the drama, the intensity, and the sheer unpredictability that Clark has brought with her. From the moment she stepped onto the court, it was clear that Clark wasn't just another promising rookie, she was a force of nature, someone who could and would change the game forever. But with great power comes great resistance, and Clark has faced more than her fair share of it. In a recent game against the Seattle Storm, things took an ugly turn, as Clark did what she does best, lighting up the scoreboard and getting the crowd into a frenzy. Veteran player Skylar Diggins took issue. As Clark hyped up the crowd, Diggins literally shoved her, showing just how much Clark is getting under the skin of some of the league's established stars. But Diggins didn't stop there. She continued to exchange heated words with Indiana Fever's coach Christie Sides, repeatedly shouting, "Don't touch me." It was clear for all to see the Clark effect is real, and it's driving some players to the brink. Despite this drama, or perhaps because of it, Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever are playing some of the best basketball we've seen in years. Let's break down the insane game against the Seattle Storm. From the opening whistle, the Fever came out with a level of energy that was simply unmatched. They built an astonishing 28-point lead in the first half, leaving the Storm reeling. Clark was, as always, unstoppable, finishing the game with 23 points, 9 assists, and 5 rebounds. But what really stood out was how she elevated the entire team. Kelsey Mitchell was on fire, scoring an incredible 27 points. The chemistry between Clark and Mitchell was so electric, it felt like they'd been playing together for years, not just a few months. And then there was Lexi Hull, who came off the bench to deliver a performance that left everyone in shock. Hitting 6 out of 7 three-pointers, Hull racked up 22 points and showed that the Fever have weapons beyond just Clark. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. The Storm, like any good team, mounted a comeback in the second half, cutting the Fever's lead to just 8 points. This was the moment of truth. Would the Fever crumble under pressure, or would they rise to the occasion? They rose. Instead of panicking, Clark and her teammates kept their composure, tightened up their defense, and dominated the final quarter, ultimately winning the game 9-2-7-5. This game was a statement, a declaration that the Fever aren't just a one-player team, but a well-rounded unit capable of taking on the best in the league. And with Clark leading the charge, they look poised to surprise a lot of people as the season progresses. Since returning from the Olympic break, Clark has taken her game to another level. Her stats are eye-popping, not just for a rookie but for any player in the league, and that's starting to ruffle some feathers. The incident with Skylar Diggins wasn't an isolated case. Early in the season, Clark was on the receiving end of some hard, almost excessive fouls. It was as if some veterans in the league were determined to welcome her in the most unfriendly way possible. But now things are different. Clark isn't just a promising rookie anymore, she's a real threat. She's leading her team to the playoffs, breaking records, and most importantly, drawing massive attention to the WNBA. Arenas are packed when the Fever play, and TV ratings are through the roof. Clark is doing for the WNBA what few players have managed. She's making women's basketball a must-see event, and this isn't sitting well with everyone. Some veteran players, who have spent years building their careers, suddenly find themselves overshadowed by a 22-year-old rookie. The league needs to be careful. While this growing tension might be exciting for fans, it's also dangerous. If Clark were to suffer an injury due to overly aggressive play, it would be a disaster not just for her and the Fever, but for the entire WNBA. The truth is, the league should be celebrating Clark. She's bringing in new fans, increasing visibility, and raising the level of play. Instead of resentment, there should be admiration. But one thing is certain, Caitlin Clark isn't backing down. She came to dominate, and that's exactly what she's doing. The more she shines, the more interesting the WNBA becomes. And let's dive deeper into what's making Fever fans grin from ear to ear: the incredible chemistry between Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, and surprisingly, Lexi Hull. When Clark joined the Fever, there were questions about how she'd fit in with Mitchell, who was already the team's star. But what we're seeing on the court is nothing short of magical. Clark and Mitchell form one of the most dynamic duos in the league right now. It's like they have a sixth sense for each other. Clark, with her extraordinary court vision, constantly finds Mitchell in scoring positions, and Mitchell is making the most of every opportunity. In the game against the Storm, we saw this in full effect. The opposing defense simply didn't know where to look when these two were on the court. But the big surprise of the night was Lexi Hull. Coming off the bench, Hull delivered a performance that made everyone rub their eyes in disbelief. 6 out of 7 three-pointers, nearly perfect. What does this show? That Clark isn't just shining on her own, she's elevating the entire team's level. But Hull, who used to be just another rotation player, now looks like an elite sniper when she's on the court with Clark. And we can't forget about Aaliyah Boston. Although she didn't have explosive numbers in this game, her presence in the paint is crucial. She gives Clark and Mitchell the security to be aggressive, knowing they have a solid defensive anchor behind them. If the Fever keeps playing like this, with Clark orchestrating the offense, Mitchell as a constant scoring threat, Hull surprising from the perimeter, and Boston dominating the paint, they won't just be a playoff team. They'll be a team that no one wants to face in the playoffs. Who would have thought we'd be having this conversation? The Fever, who finished last in the standings last season, are now right in the middle of the fight for a playoff spot. And it's no accident. With the win over the Storm, the Fever improved their record to 13-15, putting them in 7th place in the overall standings. Remember, the top 8 teams make the playoffs. It's quite a turnaround. But what makes this playoff race even more exciting is how the Fever are playing. They're not just winning, they're dominating teams that were considered superior. The Fever's remaining schedule is crucial. Every game now is practically a playoff final, and with Clark leading the way, the Fever seem ready for this challenge. What's really impressive is how the Fever are improving game after game. At the start of the season, there were moments of brilliance followed by rookie mistakes. Now they're playing with the confidence of a veteran playoff team. This year's WNBA playoffs promise to be one of the most exciting in recent history, and a big part of that is because the Indiana Fever, led by their extraordinary rookie, are ready to make some noise. But there's another storyline that has everyone on the edge of their seats: the fierce battle for Rookie of the Year between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. This race is as exciting as a playoff decider. On one side, we have Caitlin Clark, who's redefining what it means to be a rookie in the WNBA. On the other, Angel Reese, who's dominating the boards and making history in her own way. Let's look at the numbers. Clark is leading all rookies in points and assists per game. She's not just playing well, she's playing like an all-star veteran. Her 29 points and 10 assists against the Mercury are MVP numbers, not rookie numbers. But Angel Reese isn't far behind. She's leading all rookies in rebounds and has an impressive streak of 15 consecutive double-doubles. It's an incredible feat for any player, let alone a rookie, and she put up 19 points and grabbed 20 rebounds in her last game against the Phoenix Mercury. What makes this competition even more interesting is how Clark and Reese are impacting their respective teams. Both players are breaking records and drawing unprecedented attention to the league. Fever and Sky games are among the most watched of the season, and the excitement continues to build. In the end, this Rookie of the Year race could be one of the tightest in WNBA history. Both players have strong arguments in their favor. If I had to bet right now, I'd say Clark has an edge. Her impact on the Fever's success, combined with her impressive numbers and the attention she's bringing to the league, is the difference maker. But one thing's for sure, no matter who wins, the WNBA is the big winner. Speaking of winners, let's talk about something that's got a lot of people dreaming big. Could Caitlin Clark lead the Indiana Fever to a WNBA title in her rookie year? I know it sounds crazy. We're talking about a rookie leading a team that was at the bottom of the standings last season. But after what we've seen, who can say it's impossible? Think about it, Clark isn't your average rookie. She's playing at a level that many all-star veterans have never reached. Her court vision, her scoring ability, and most importantly, her winning mentality are things you usually see in players with years of experience in the league. And it's not just Clark. The Fever as a whole are evolving with each game. Kelsey Mitchell is playing the best basketball of her career, and the entire team is clicking in a way that few expected. Sure, the road to the title is long and difficult. There are more experienced and theoretically more talented teams in the league, but have you seen how the Fever play when they're on fire? They can beat anyone. Plus, there's the fairy tale factor. Imagine this: a rookie arrives, transforms a losing team into champions, all while revolutionizing the game and drawing unprecedented attention to the league. It would be a Hollywood-worthy story. So what do you think? Is it a crazy dream, or is there a real chance? Can Caitlin Clark's magic really take the Fever to the top of the WNBA in her rookie season? Let me know in the comments. It's clear that all this expectation revolves around Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. It's incredible, but it also brings enormous pressure. And that's where things get really interesting. The Fever are entering the final stretch of the regular season. Every game now is practically an early final. There's no more room for errors, no more easy games. It's time to show if all this buzz is real or just passing excitement. The question is, how will Clark and the Fever handle this growing pressure? So far, they've exceeded all expectations, but as we approach the playoffs, the game changes. Defenses get tougher, strategies more sophisticated, and every possession becomes crucial. And we can't forget that other teams are watching. They've seen what Clark can do. They've seen how the Fever are playing. You can bet every coach in the league is racking their brains to find a way to stop this Indiana machine. What about the rest of the team? Players like Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston are also carrying a heavy load. They'll need to be at the top of their game to give Clark the necessary support in crucial moments. Coach Christy Sides will also play a crucial role. She'll need to manage her stars' minutes, keep the team motivated, and at the same time develop strategies to surprise opponents who are already preparing specifically to face the Fever. The upcoming games will be a real trial by fire, not just for Clark, but for the entire Indiana Fever. This is where legends are forged. It's in these moments of maximum pressure that we see what great players and great teams are really made of. What do you think about the Fever's chances in the playoffs? Will Caitlin Clark take home the Rookie of the Year award? And most importantly, do you believe the Fever can go all the way and win the title? Leave your opinion in the comments. I love reading what you think, and I always respond when I can. Your ideas bring perspectives that sometimes even I hadn't considered. And hey, if you enjoyed this analysis and want to stay up to date on everything happening in the WNBA, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. That way, you won't miss any videos about the biggest stars in women's basketball. The WNBA is having an incredible moment, and together we can follow and discuss every development in this exciting league. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.